Hi, it's Russ from Pro Tools Expert, and I've got myself a copy of the new Universal Audio Fairchild 660 and 670. These are re-versions. They have a version now called the Legacy that they've done before, but these are new models of them, which they feel are better models and give you a more accurate representation. You can watch the video on their site of several producers, and these come with some great producer presets as well. What you basically have is a 660 which runs in mono and a 670 that runs in stereo, as well as some other cool processing techniques that can be used with the two channels. Now, one thing to not assume is that the 670 is just a stereo version of the 660. They actually sound different as well as operate differently. And so you have the best of both worlds. Straight away, the GUI is very nice, very attractive, very well styled, but obviously looks are one thing, but does it sound any good? So I'm going to show you in action with a rock track that I've just knocked together, sort of homage to one of my favorite groups. I'm guessing you'll work out who it is, I hope, when you've watched it. So let's try the 660 first. On the left, here have the bypass switches, basically, a nice on and off switch there, which you can use. And then we have metering, in, out, and the gain reduction metering. Then you have a headroom control where you can increase or decrease the headroom and the gain going in and out of it so that you can get as much through it before clipping. Then we have the balance control, which is for setting the DC bias. Then we have an input and a threshold. Then we have the time constant, and that's 6 presets basically, which give you different attack and release times, although 5 and 6 are program dependent. So you can look in the manual and they have different settings there, and they're preset. Then say again, you have program dependent, depending on what you throw at it, it will respond differently. Then we have the sidechain filter, which enables you to filter out stuff up to 500 hertz. So that, let's say you've got a drum loop going through this, you could actually make sure that the kick isn't over triggering the compression, and so you can use that filter, and that could be very useful on, as I say, stuff like mixed material where you've got lots of low end and you want to maintain the low end, or if you want to slam the whole lot of it with the compressor, then of course you'd turn that off. Then we have DC threshold, which in reality is actually would be better called as a knee function. As you can see, there's little graphics there, and that can give you a soft or a hard knee compression. And then we have an output where we can obviously get the gains matched so that we're not hearing a louder volume on the once the compression's applied. And then the great thing is, well, we have a mix, so we can mix in the original signal with a compressed signal. So let's go to the 670 now. And as you see, they have some additional features. We again have the metering with the in-out gain reduction, the balance and the headroom. Then we have the input gains, and then we have the threshold and the time constants again. Then we have the AGC knob here, which is very useful because that allows you to use several process techniques which were applied to record creation when they were pressing records. Basically, it's like an MS setting, really, and it allows you to bring the audio in different ways. And it's worth checking the manual because it's quite comprehensive in explaining this. So it can work in basically, it can work in stereo, it can work in dual mono, and it can work in this mode where it mixes signals and then reapplies them back together. Or you can have them working independently at the same time. So it's worth, as I say, checking the manual and reading that to see how it can apply the two channels together to give you different sounds and different processes. So let's take a listen to them. So I'm using some of the presets, and then you can modify them yourself. So I've got this track here. So I've got this live kick. It's a nice rock part, please style. I've got Simon Phillips playing on this. Thanks to the guys at Loop Loft for the loops. And let's have a listen to some stuff. So some really great presets from guys like Michael Brower, Peter Mockran, Steve Levine, Ryan Hewitt, Daryl Thorpe, Ryan West, and Mike Paul as well. And nicely, they're not all the same, so you don't get like a bass from each guy. Some of the guys are giving you some really great vocal stuff. Some are giving you some really nice drum stuff. And so the bass I've got on at the moment is Michael Brower's bass. And so have a listen to that, go through that. There's a nice big long kick now. And I say we've got this lovely ability to mix, so we can compress it in and then mix it back in as well. And talking about the side chain, this is where the side chain would come in. If I push this up now, of course it's a kick drum, so it'd be a bit odd to do it. See, there's no compression going on once I push up to about 500 hertz. You can hear it kicking in there against the bottom of that. So if I wanted some low still in there, I could put that up a bit like there. Let's go to the snare now. It's lovely on snare, very, very nice. You can see I've got some original snare mixed in, so that's full compression, really snapping on it. Really giving it some real energy, really lifting up that snare. So overheads. Very nice. As you can hear as well, depending on how you've got this set, you can hear the stereo image pushing around. Put some headphones on, you'd hear that. Try some presets. That's Steve Levine's. Michael Brower's. There's some parallel stuff. Now room. And in some ways, it's just really smooth and just really subtle. So then I've got a guitar down here. Very nice on guitar, I can really slam it. Just wait for this set, this is nice. Just really add some body into that. Could slam it harder. Just wait for that to come back around again. Really added some body in there. We could mix it again, parallel it up. Try another preset. It's called Stonesy Guitar. Okay, let's try the bass now. This is the Michael Brower preset. You can see there's some sidechain applied now. It's fully applied, there's no mix involved. It's using the second time constant, and you could go through, if you wanted that program dependent, you could add that into sort of like 5 or 6. Making a slightly clickier bass now, and getting the bottom end under control. We could pull that right down and get that see, it's working all the bass now. We push this up a bit harder now. The bottom end's still coming through. It's just kind of getting the top end a bit more under control. Could drive it harder. It's now got a really low bottom end there. Let's just hear that with and without. Just tightening all that bass up there. Want to add some more back in, we can put the mix control back up. Let's hear the whole track now with it and without it. Let's turn them all back off, bypass them. Back in. Love what it does to snare drums. Again, just really gives a presence in the mix, really lifts them nicely. Of course, one area they're really excel on is on vocals, but you really don't want to hear my vocals when I'm doing one of these demos. I did put a vocal track down, but I decided to spare you the agony of having to listen to it. But it's worth trying on vocals. Now, the good thing is you can download a demo. If you're a UAD owner, then you can download a 15-day demo and try them for yourself. I think they're well worth checking out. I think they've done a really good job of modeling them. Those that own Fairchilds, and I don't, I'd love to grab some, but those that own Fairchilds that have been using these say that they are as good as the real thing. So there's a 15-day demo. You can download them and you can check them out for yourself. But I think UAD have done another great job of another vintage piece of gear. And of course, if you read my recent article, the great thing about these versions of the vintage ones is you won't have to service them and spend any money getting them up to scratch. So well done, UAD. Check them out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.